Think you're an expert at Undertale? Well, I've got a challenge for you. How's it going, everyone? Expert Gamer here. Welcome to the rules video for the Undertale Expert Challenge. If you're new to this channel, what we do here is we take video games and add rules to them to make the games much harder. This is only the second game we are doing on this channel. If you're interested in a challenge on Donkey Kong 64, click the link in the description. Now, let's get to the rules. So, there's actually going to be two different challenges for Undertale. There will be a main challenge that is a True Pacifist run of the game, and there will also be a bonus Genocide Run challenge. First, I'm going to go over the rules for the True Pacifist challenge. Rule number 1. You may not save more than 10 times throughout the course of the run. So saving serves two functions in Undertale. One is it serves as a checkpoint, so if you die or exit out of the game, you'll go back to that save point. Two is that when you save, your HP will be restored to full health. By only being able to save the game 10 times, you're going to have to use your saves wisely, and you'll often have to go through long stretches of the game without saving. Rule number 2. Prior to entering True Lab, you must exit the game if your HP falls below 10. You must also exit the game if you die in True Lab. This is going to be hard for a few different reasons. The first and most obvious is that it basically cuts your HP in half. Since this is a True Pacifist run of the game, you're going to be at level 1 the entire time, and you're only going to have 20 HP. This is going to leave you with not much room for error during encounters. Another reason this makes the game harder is because it forces you to actually dodge Toriel and Papyrus's attacks in order to get past them. Normally, if you get too low on HP against Toriel, she will stop trying to hit you with attacks. And against Papyrus, if you lose to him enough times, he will actually let you pass without having to fight him anymore. But with this rule in place, you're not going to be able to get by that way. One last reason this rule makes the game harder is because it prevents you from using non-save points as checkpoints. So there are actually certain points of the game to where if you die, you go back to those points that aren't save points. One example of this is the elevator in Hotland. If you die after getting off an elevator and you didn't save after getting off the elevator, you actually go back to the elevator as a checkpoint when you die, even though you saved before you got on the elevator. However, if you exit completely out of the game, you won't go back to the elevator, you'll go back to your save point. So you're not going to be able to exploit those checkpoints in the game. This rule is in place up until True Lab, which is the last section of the game before the final boss of the True Pacifist run. The reason I end the rule in True Lab is because the enemies in True Lab just do a lot of damage. But you do still have to exit the game if you die in True Lab because those checkpoints I talked about exist in True Lab, and I always want you to go back to your save point. Rule number 3. You may not use any items or equipment. So you're not going to be able to just stock up on healing items and use it to bail you out whenever you take damage. You're also not going to be able to use armor to reduce the damage you take from attacks. This rule is really going to make the latter parts of the game hard, because attacks do more and more damage as you go through the game, and by the time you get to Hotland, just 2 hits will knock you below 10 HP. Rule number 4. You may not flee from any encounters with the exception of Undyne. So normally, you can just flee from a regular enemy encounter, but with this rule, you're actually going to have to resolve the encounter, and since it's the True Pacifist run, you'll have to resolve it peacefully. Of course, I had to make an exception for Undyne because you have to flee from her in order to resolve her encounter in the True Pacifist run. Rule number 5. During the first phase of the Asriel fight, you must exit the game if your HP hits 0 more than once. So, Asriel is the final boss of the True Pacifist run, and normally, if your HP hits 0, your heart will start to break, but then it will say, but it refused, and then it will come back together and you will keep on fighting. This makes the last boss impossible to lose to, so I had to change that. You can hit 0 HP once, just not more than once. Also, this only applies to the first phase of the boss, so as soon as Asriel transforms, congratulations, you've beaten the challenge. And finally, rule number 6, no exploiting glitches. This is a rule that is common across all challenges on this channel. You're not allowed to use game-breaking glitches to skip part of the game or play the game in a way it wasn't intended to be played. Luckily, I haven't really come across many game-breaking glitches in Undertale. I know speedrunners use a few different ones when they do it, so don't use any of those, but you really have to know what you're doing to perform those glitches. So that's the True Pacifist challenge. Now for the bonus Genocide Run challenge. This challenge is simple, but it's anything but easy. Beat a Genocide Run without using any healing items. This means you'll have to get past sands without healing at all. So when I started doing the Undertale challenge, I didn't think I would be able to beat Sans without using items. I just remembered how hard he was to beat him with using items and just thought there was no way I would ever be able to do that. But over the course of doing the True Pacifist challenge, I got better and better at the game to where, by the time I finished it, I got to the point to where I could beat Sans without using items. So if you want to do both of these challenges, I would definitely recommend starting with the True Pacifist challenge, because doing that will help you get better at the game and hopefully get you to the point to where you can beat Sans without using items. Anyway guys, that's it for this video. If you have any questions about my Undertale challenges, let me know in the comments below and I'll try to respond and answer them. Also let me know in the comments what games you'd like to see me do in the future, because I will take your feedback into consideration. Don't forget to leave a like if you enjoyed the video, and be sure to subscribe so you don't miss anything. And remember kids, don't try what you see me do at home. I'm what you call an expert.